Welcome back to Worth Coin. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting hunts in US coin history. Imagine holding an ordinary-looking Eisenhower $1 coin in your hand. But what if I told you that some of these simple dollars, the very coins you may have in a jar, a drawer, or even hidden away in a collection, could actually be worth a fortune? We're talking about coins that could sell for hundreds of thousands, even pushing into unbelievable six-figure ranges. You're about to discover 3 Eisenhower dollars that could completely shock you with their value. So stick around, because you don't want to miss a single detail. And before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chance to uncover the next coin that could change your life. Let's begin with a coin that might surprise you. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar in fine condition. Now, at first glance, this coin doesn't look like much. After all, 1978 was the very last year the Eisenhower dollar was ever struck, and millions of them were minted. People carried them around in their pockets, used them in casinos, and stacked them away without ever thinking they'd one day be worth something more than $1. But here's the twist. Not all $1,978 are created equal. If you take a closer look, you'll notice Dwight D. Eisenhower's bold portrait on the obverse, strong features, clean lines, and on the reverse, that dramatic Apollo 11 eagle landing on the moon, clutching an olive branch. It's an iconic design, celebrating both a president and America's space race triumph. But what most collectors don't realize is that hidden within this very common year are rare variations and conditions that can send the value skyrocketing. Now, in your hand, a fine condition 1978 Eisenhower dollar might only feel like pocket change. Circulated examples generally trade for just a few dollars, maybe $4 or $5 at most. But hold on, because here's where things get unbelievable. If your 1978 Ike dollar happens to be a special error, such as a misstrike, a dramatic off-center strike, or a rare die clash, you could be looking at figures that push far beyond what anyone expects. Collectors have paid $15,000, even $25,000 for dramatic mint errors in the series. But here's the part that will shock you. When a 1978 Eisenhower dollar is discovered in pristine and circulated condition, graded Ms. 67 or higher by PCGs or NGC, values can explode. And we're not talking small numbers here. Some have sold in auctions for jaw-dropping amounts, crossing $80,000, even pushing past the $120,000 mark for coins with exceptional luster, flawless surfaces, and crisp details. That's $100,000 for what once jingled in someone's pocket at the local diner. And yes, the rarest of them all, the near-perfect 1978 Ike dollar in Ms. 68 condition with no flaws at all, has been whispered among collectors to be worth close to $500,000 if the right buyer comes along. Think about that for a moment. A single dollar coin from 1978, the final farewell to the Eisenhower series, carrying a price tag of $450,000 or more. That's the kind of discovery that can change a life overnight. So, how do you know if your coin is the lucky one? Look carefully. Check the edges for clean strikes. Hold it under the light to see if the luster still dances across the surface. Search for doubling in the lettering or small imperfections from the minting process. These little clues could be the difference between a coin worth $5 and a coin worth a small fortune. And here's the fun part. Most people your age, watching right now, might still have one of these coins tucked away from the late 70s. They were often given as keepsakes, stashed in bank rolls, or passed down from parents and grandparents. That forgotten Eisenhower dollar sitting in a desk drawer could be your ticket to one of the most shocking paydays you'll ever see. Now that we've uncovered the secrets of the 1978 Eisenhower dollar, brace yourself, because the next coin on this list takes things to an even higher level of rarity and value. Next up, we have the 1974 Eisenhower dollar, and this one might leave you absolutely stunned. At first, an extra fine 1974 Ike dollar looks like an ordinary coin, lightly worn but still showing strong details of Eisenhower's proud portrait. on the obverse and that majestic Apollo 11 lunar landing design on the reverse. But what if I told you that hidden among the coins from this year are some of the most desirable treasures in the entire Eisenhower series? Let's set the stage. In 1974, millions of Eisenhower dollars were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The circulation strikes are common, yes, but here's where it gets thrilling. The San Francisco Mint produced proof and silver-clad versions, and collectors have been chasing after them ever since. Now, your average circulated 1974 Eisenhower, in extra fine condition, might only bring $10, maybe $15 on a good day. That doesn't sound like much, right? But hang on, because we're just getting warmed up. Certain 1974 Ike dollars contain minting quirks that completely change their value. For example, the rare peg-leg variety where the bottom serif of the R in Liberty is missing has sold for thousands. Combine that with a high-grade or unusual strike, and you've got a serious jackpot in your hands. But here's the part that gives collectors goosebumps. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar was originally supposed to be struck in silver for a 1975 bicentennial trial. A handful of experimental pieces were rumored to have been minted in 40% silver, and while few have ever surfaced, if one of those elusive test coins lands in your possession, the value could soar into unbelievable territory. We're talking six figures, $250,000, $300,000, even beyond. Now, let's not forget about pristine examples. When a 1974 Eisenhower is found in top-notch, mint state 67 or higher, with booming luster and no contact marks, it transforms from a pocket coin into an auction star. Just imagine, collectors have paid upwards of $150,000 for these stunning survivors, and whispers in the collecting world suggest that a flawless Ms. 68 could command a staggering $500,000 or more. That's $500,000 for what most people dismiss as just a heavy old dollar coin. Think about that for a moment. If you've got a 1974 Ike dollar tucked away, don't just assume it's only worth $1. Look closely. Flip it over under good lighting. Check the strike quality, the mint mark, and the surface. Because a tiny detail or near-perfect preservation could be the difference between pocket change and a life-changing windfall. And here's what makes it even more exciting: these coins are still out there. They weren't all scooped up by collectors back in the 70s. Many of them are resting quietly in coin jars, collections, or forgotten rolls in bank vaults. Someone watching this video right now might unknowingly own one of these treasures without even realizing it. So, the next time you come across a 1974 Eisenhower dollar, pause before you spend it or toss it aside. That single coin could hold a shocking value, far beyond your imagination. And if you thought this was exciting, get ready, because the next Eisenhower dollar on our list takes rarity and value to a level that will leave you speechless. But before we move on, make sure you've hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. And finally, we arrive at the coin that carries more history, more symbolism, and more jaw-dropping value potential than almost any Eisenhower dollar ever made. The 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar. Now, just saying that date gives you chills, doesn't it? America's 200th birthday, a celebration of independence, patriotism, and pride, all captured on a single coin. Unlike the other Eisenhower dollars, this one breaks the mold. Instead of the standard Apollo 11 reverse, you'll see the dramatic Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon, designed by Dennis R. Williams, a young art student whose design was chosen in a national competition. That image alone makes this coin unforgettable. At first glance, your fine-condition bicentennial Eisenhower dollar might only seem like a keepsake, worth maybe $3 to $5 in average circulated condition. Millions were struck, and people saved them as souvenirs, tucking them into albums and jars to remember America's 200th birthday. But here's where things get electrifying. Hidden among these millions are rare versions and error coins that have stunned collectors at auction. Some were struck in 40% silver at the San Francisco Mint, and if you happen to have one of those, the value instantly climbs. In uncirculated grades, silver bicentennials can fetch hundreds of dollars. But wait, it gets even better. Dramatic errors, like double strikes, off-center strikes, or wrong planchet errors, have sent collectors into bidding wars, with values soaring into the tens of thousands. A single bicentennial Ike with a major misstrike, once hammered down for over 40,000, and then we get to the true treasures. Pristine examples. A flawless bicentennial Eisenhower dollar, graded Ms. 67 or higher, becomes a showpiece. Collectors have paid staggering amounts, $120,000, $180,000, and even whispers of over $250,000 for silver-clad bicentennials in top condition. And here's the ultimate shocker. The elusive perfect Ms. 68 silver bicentennial Ike, with glowing luster and not a single mark, could easily smash through the $500,000 barrier, reaching a heart-stopping $600,000 or more if it crossed the auction block today. Imagine that for a moment. A coin celebrating America's 200th birthday, something millions of people held in their hands during parades, fireworks, and celebrations, now transformed into a six-figure treasure. That's not just rare. That's history turned into fortune. So, how do you know if yours is special? First, look at the mint mark check for the S, which could mean you're holding a 40% silver version. Next, study the details carefully. Is the strike strong? Is the luster still alive across the surfaces? Do you see any unusual doubling or striking errors? Every detail could mean the difference between a keepsake and a life-changing payday. And here's the best part: many of you watching right now might already have one. These bicentennial Ikes were gifted by parents and grandparents, tucked away as souvenirs, or kept in bank rolls for decades. That dusty little coin sitting in a drawer could actually be a ticket to a six-figure fortune. So, let's recap. The 1978 Ike, the 1974 Ike, and now the legendary 1776 to 1976 bicentennial Ike. Three coins that millions of Americans once thought of as ordinary pocket change, now revealed as potential treasures worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And remember, these coins are still out there waiting to be discovered by someone like you. This is why we love the hunt, why we study the details, and why we never stop looking through our change. Because you never know, the next coin you find could be the one that makes you say, "Wow, I can't believe this was sitting in my collection all along." So, which of these Eisenhower dollars do you think could be hiding in your home right now? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Worth Coin for more shocking coin discoveries that just might change your life.